Let's read a story together. As we read, I want you to see if you can figure out who is a character in this story. Do you remember what a character is? Character is either a person or an animal or some creature that does things in the story. When I look at the cover of this book, I see a little boy. Is that what you see? I'm guessing that this book will have a little boy as a character. Are you ready? Let's read it together. It's called Little is Good. This is my cover. When I open the book up, I have my title page and then I have the real story. Let's read. Brian was a little boy when his family and he liked to help. One day he was looking for someone to help. He saw his sister in her room. Do you ever look for people to help? I bet you do. Dear Rosa, Brian said, running into her room and jumping onto the bed. I came to help you. Rosa was making a necklace out of beds when Brian jumped on the bed. The beds spilled all over the floor. Oh, Brian! Rosa cried. You spilled the beads. You are too little to help me. Have you ever had someone tell you are too little? Doesn't make you feel very good, does it? Let's see what happens to Brian. Brian left the room and went to his brother's room. What are you doing, Tom? Brian asked. I'm gluing this plane together. Tom explained. Brian wanted to see. He climbed onto the back of the chair and bumped Tom's elbow. Do you think that was a good thing? Probably not. The pieces that Tom was gluing fell all apart. Oh dear! Shoot, Tom said. Now I have to start all over. He turned to Brian and said, You're too little to help with this. Why don't you go outside and play? Uh, poor Brian. I don't want to play, Brian said as he walked away. I want to help. He, his mother cooking dinner. He pulled a stool up to the stove and reached for a spoon. Is that a good idea to get close to the stove? No, you could get burned. Brian, get down. You could get burned. You are too little to help me cook, his mother said. Ah, poor Brian. Brian felt sad. He walked outside and sat on the front porch. He put his face in his hands. I guess that little is not good. I can't help anyone, he thought. Just then, Brian saw his dad getting out of the car. His dad was carrying a big package and his coat. He also had his car keys. As he started climbing the porch, into the keys fell off his hands and fell down into the grate by the steps. He set down the package in his coat and tried to get the keys, but his hand was too big to fit inside the grate. What do you think is going to happen? Brian, I need your help, his dad said. Your hand airs little. They're just the right size to reach into the grate and get my keys. Will you will help from what do you think is going to happen? Brian, I need your help. His dad said your hands are little. They're just the right size to reach into the grate and get my keys. What will you will you them for me? Brian looked at his dad, then he smiled. At last he had found a way to help. He put his hand through the grate until he found the keys. Then he pulled them out and held him out. Here they are, Dad. Here they are, Dad. He said with a great big grin. What is a grin? You're right. A grin is a smile. Why was Brian smiling? Because he had helped write, and it makes you feel good when you help his dad took the keys and put them in his pocket. Then, then he gave by Brian a big hug. Brian, I am so glad you were here. I needed someone little. Brian hugged his dad and smiled. A little is good, he thought. What do you think? Was that a fun story? Now, who were some characters in stories? There was Brian, there was his mom and his dad and his brother and his sister. They were all characters in the story. That was really fun. I hope you helped it too.